What's up? I'm Mike, N2MAK, and I recently saw a good video about some knives that are useful for summits on the air. I'll leave a link down below. Now, I do some SOTA, but I do a lot more parks on the air. And I'm going to share with you some of the knives that I use regularly and recommend for POTA. All right, so let's get into it. But first, a little bit real quick about my philosophy or approach with knives. I got into knives before I got into amateur radio. I absolutely love them. This is just a sample of my collection, but I am primarily focused on knives that are under $100 in price. There's certainly some Benchmades and Spydercos that are on the wish list. You're not going to see those here though, but just because they're lower in price doesn't mean it's necessarily lower in quality. And hopefully that's what you'll see here today. The other thing that's worth pointing out is where I live, or not so much where I live, but I work within the city of Rochester, and within the city, it's one of the cities in upstate New York that actually has blade restrictions. For example, New York City has a 4-inch blade restriction. City of Rochester has a stricter one actually, which is 3 inches. So that factors into some of my decisions. Since I'm working within the city limits, I want to be respectful of laws. And so some of the knives that I EDC regularly are going to have blades that are less than 3 inches. It's not necessarily ideal for certain things because the length of the blade is going to usually impact the length of the handle and the comfort, but nonetheless, I digress. Let's get into it. And you'll see over here, just to make this ham radio related, in addition to the quirky QRP mat, we got the ICOM IC32AT, which is from the late 80s, early 90s, dual band transceiver, and then your standard Baofeng. This kind of mirrors my approach to the knives. It's not the, you know, several $100 Yaesu or Kenwood HTs. You know, it's HTs that work well, that can withstand the test of time like the ICOM, or just be affordable, entry level, and get the job done like the Baofeng. So again, you're going to see that approach here. And I'll start off with Mora knife. We're going to start off with, I got 2 fixed blades, then we'll go to folders and multi-tools and keychains. The Mora knife is fantastic for the price. You're going to get nice Scandi grind, made in Sweden. Very comfortable handle. This is a great fixed blade and you can't beat it for the price. You get really good quality. This is the companion and it is super comfortable. It's not going to have a full tang going through. It's going to be much more of a stick or a rat tail as far as the tang is concerned. But this is, you can just beat these knives up like you would a Baofeng, and if you're done with it, move on to something else. But no, I've had this, and this has gotten a lot of really great use. The sheath is just a simple polymer one, but what I really like about this is the clip. And so, especially as the weather's getting nicer, it's sunny out now, it's not necessarily shorts weather, but if I'm wearing a pair of mesh shorts, I'm not gonna have a belt. You know, so I can still clip this on, and it's light, it's comfortable, and again, the quality and the price, you can't beat it. So for a fixed blade, this is fantastic. This is the Mora knife companion. Now let's see here. This a little bit pricier, and this might actually be a little bit more on the unobtainium side right now, right here, but this is a Utica UTK S4. So and I'm from the Utica area, so this I'm very partial to the Utica knives. But I believe the factory had closed or really kind of started to shut down in recent years. So I'm not sure if these are still going to be in production or not. If they are, it's a really good knife for the price. This is gonna, you might recognize this as being very similar to an Essie. This is the UTK4, and so this is about a 4.5-inch blade, 1095 carbon steel. You're going to have a full tang going all the way down. It is super comfortable in the hand. You've got a nice choil there to choke up and get better grips. You got, it's not so much a point for a glass breaker, but you do have this down on the bottom, some really good jimping up there. This is just this knife is so comfortable. I can't say enough good things about it, and it's just a really good utility knife. Not necessarily, this isn't something for the everyday POTA, but if you are camping, you know, staying overnight, whether it's RV or tent, or if you are doing a hiking activation, like some of the ones I do in some of the state forests and stuff, and you want a fixed blade, something a lot more the utility knife side of things, this is a really excellent option. The only downside to this is the sheath for me. It's got a nice clip there, which again doesn't require a belt like this. However, if I use this on my belt, it's gonna ride really high and dig into the hips. It's not the most comfortable, but and I'm blanking on the name for these type of attachment points here, but this can rotate 90 degrees easily, and I'll often carry this scout carry on the side, horizontal. There's some lashing points there too if I want to attach it to a pack, and in fact I have this sheath right here, which, you know, I simply screw it on here so I can carry this down lower, and it's got the molly strap, so I can easily attach this, and oftentimes this is what I would do, you know, is attach this to a backpack or some other sort of pack. So it does have plenty of options. If this is something that's hard to find, the SE, and you're going to get a fantastic, I think they got like a lifetime warranty with SEs, so you can't go wrong there. It does have a couple little extra small things. You got a ferro rod and a striker here. You do have an option to use a pull-through sharpener here. It's not the best, but again, you know, if this is what you have with you when you're camping or in the field, it's a nice thing to have. So those are the fixed blades that I use the most for POTA. Now when it comes to folders, I'm gonna look at two options for folders. This is the Rat 2 from Ontario. Now, comes in a couple different steels. This is the AUS 8, so it's a stainless steel. I'm in upstate New York. I'm in the Finger Lakes region. Deal with humidity, snow. I'm on the water often, so I wanted a stainless steel option as opposed to D2. D2 steel is gonna certainly have better edge retention, but it's not gonna be a stainless and might have some issues with the humidity and corrosion. So the Rat 2 though is just a classic EDC, great pocket knife to have on. This is, again, the Rat 2, so the blade on this is going to be below 3 inches. I think it's like 2 3/4 inches. Because of the restrictions I have, at least I know I can carry this anywhere I am and not have to worry about it. But this is a really good option. Very inexpensive too. You can pay for premium, you know, steel or scales, but this is an absolute classic, and a really good budget option. But again, like the Mora knife, just because it's inexpensive doesn't mean it's cheap. And that's an Open L. So this is an Open L number 7, and very simple folder, very inexpensive. You can get these under $20. This is cheaper than a Bofang. But what is nice about this is you do have a locking collar, just simple twist. So there you go. It's not going to close down on you. These do come in different steel options. There's carbon steel. This is a stainless steel again because of the environment that I'm in. But these are going to be amongst the lightest knives that you're going to find out there. So if you are concerned about weight and just trying to lighten your load, or maybe to go back to the mesh shorts, you got a pair of mesh shorts on, you're dressed light because of the weather, and you just want to have something on you, this is a fantastic option, and you cannot beat it. The quality and the function of this that you get for the price. I think I paid about $15. Again, this is the Open L number 7. There's different sizes and in different sizes, but this works out really well. And the blade on this one, you know, comes in at 3.07 or something, 3.1. So just over that 3-inch limit, or right there, depending on how you look at it. But there's the open L. And get into multi-tools right now. I got two good options here. One, and this is a regular carry for me, is a Victorinox compact. And this is similar to a lot of different Swiss Army knives. You got some of the things that you would expect. You have the blade. You have a multi-tool here that functions as a can opener, a bottle opener, and a flathead. There's that little groove that you can use for stripping wire. This has one of the things that Victorinox is well known for, which is the scissors, which are just absolutely fantastic. There is this unique tool on the bottom, this parcel hook, where there aren't really a lot of good uses for it that I've found, but that's there. As is the corkscrew, which has the mini screwdriver in there, which is handy if you're someone like me that wears glasses often, because that works perfectly to tighten some of the screws. You do see some of the standard tools that you expect in Victorinox. This is, I just put these custom scales on there, so it's why it's all blue. Normally you won't see this, but you got the toothpick, not the most handy, but still can be nice. Tweezers, which actually come in surprisingly handy. But the compact has what Victorinox refers to as plus scale. So there's a third tool tucked in there, and that is a pen. And so when it comes to doing parks on the air, summits on the air, we always like to have some sort of redundancy in the field. I don't log by paper. I use hammers or polo. That said, there's times where I need to write something down. Maybe I'm having a problem logging, or sometimes just for working stations where there's multiple parks involved or summits. It's just sometimes it's easier to write things down and then go input them shortly after. And so it's good to have that pen. Definitely recommend this. The other multi-tool, which I think is fantastic and can't be beat, is the Leatherman Wave. And I've had this for a while. The nice thing about the Leatherman is you're gonna get really fantastic pliers, wire cutters. You're gonna get a number of other functions in addition to that. We got, your standard blade. You do have a serrated blade, which is nice option if you're going to be cutting any type of cord or rope. You do have a small saw, which works well with small branches, and then there's also a metal file saw there too as well. It has a can opener, bottle opener, but it's gonna have bits, the option for bit drivers as well, and this is a little bit better option if you're doing, it's one thing if you just got to tighten a screw, it's another thing if you're actually doing some repair work and whatnot. And so that's where the bit driver can be a nicer option than using, the screwdriver on one of the Victorinoxes. This is really nice, handy sheath. There's two pockets on the side. I keep a very small zebra pen there, and then a small flashlight on the side. Again, redundancy when it comes to things like flashlights, pens, blades. Now, move on to the final section. These are two keychain sized multi-tools, which I definitely recommend. The first is going to look a lot like the other Victorinox. This is Victorinox Manager. There's a couple different styles of this keychain sized Victorinox. I think the Manager is the best way to go. What the others don't usually have is this multi-tool here, which is going to have a Phillips end screwdriver in addition to the bottle opener and wire stripper. The Victorinox Classic doesn't have that. Okay, the Classic and some of the others will typically have your small little pen blade there, along with the scissors, which are nice. They are small, and then you got the file with the flathead bit there. Another difference on the Manager is that instead of having the toothpick, which is probably the least useful multi-tool, there's a little push button and you have a pen. Again, having a writing instrument, if you're having trouble with your log, or even if you do have pen and paper, pen fails, you got another option right there, which is really good. And this lives on my keychain, so if I'm driving somewhere, I'm always going to have this with me, whether it's the park, at work, vacation, wherever. So Victorinox Manager, definitely recommend it. This is Gerber dime. It is a little bit bigger and bulkier, not by much. I've never carried this on a keychain. This lives in this bag with my ICOM 705, which stays in the car with me or I bring along on trips. The nice thing about the Gerber dime, like the Leatherman, is you're gonna get a pair of pliers. You're gonna get some of the other tools as well, including let's go through them here. You got a very small blade, but a nice blade. And then you got, this is just a package opener. The nice thing about that is you can kind of save your regular knives when you're opening your Amazon packages or whatever by using the package opener, and prevent wearing down or getting residue all over your nicer blades. This does have a very small stubby flathead bit, and then there's a very small one on a file. Not the most functional, but they will work. So there's the scissors. And then the last thing is this does function as a bottle opener for your POTA sodas. So this is good. Like I said, this stays in the kit with me, and it certainly comes in handy. Both of these, the Victorinox Manager or Classic, whatever you have, Gerber dime, are small enough that they can fit in these Altoid kits. So this is one of the Altoid kits I have, and I keep in my bags for parks on the air, my Altoid survival kit. It's not so much a survival kit as it is a boo-boo kit, but you know, multi-tools, knives like that can fit in there. And again, redundancy, I usually try to have more. If you wanna see what's in here, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll maybe do a video. I think I did a quick unload out of this in one of my other bag videos for parks on the air. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you want to see what I keep in here, and I'll do another video on that. I think that just about covers it. So these are some really good options in my mind that I use regularly for parks on the air, whether it's fixed blade knives, folders, multi-tools, and then the keychain knives as well. You heard me talk a lot about redundancy, but also having reasonable prices and good quality, things that are going to last a long time, and be able to get the job done without breaking the bank. And that's kind of been my approach. There's knives I kind of look at a lot like antennas or radios, where I always joke, when I find the perfect one, I'll stop buying them. And that holds true. Knives are tools. They're great tools to have. They certainly come in handy in day-to-day life, and these are the ones that I feel can come in really handy for parks on the air activations, whether you're doing it from your car, you're walking over to a park bench, or you're hiking into the woods. Let me know though in the comments down below what knives you think are missing from here, what you like to use, or what you recommend for others. And I think that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll do my best to respond to any questions you have. If you haven't yet, please click like and subscribe to my channel. I'm Mike, N2MAK 73.